Hello, I'm your host Sara, and this is Insane. This podcast is a recording of the wellness guide on Tawakkul and Wellbeing found on the Insane website. Tawakkul is translated to reliance on God or trust in God, and is one of the core spiritual concepts of Islamic teaching. Within Islamic tradition, the trustworthy, the dependable, and the healer are among God's 99 names, and so the ability to rely or trust in God is seen as a sign of the extent of conviction a believer has in God. Much of the verses of the Quran concerning the importance of reliance on God were demonstrated using the lives of the prophets, peace be upon them, in which the concept of reliance is reinforced time and time again through storytelling, recounting the unwavering trust and reliance the prophets had on God despite the odds stacked against them, for which they were rewarded victory and protection. Al-Ghazali writes, reliance is to rely on none but God, which requires conviction that starts in the heart. He argues that reliance is founded upon knowledge, and the extent to which a person is able to rely on God is proportionate to one's knowledge of God, as only through knowledge of God can a person be aware that all power belongs to God alone, and that God is the source of everything and the only protector. In the context of mindfulness and well-being, reliance is being mindful of God and His power and forsaking all others. Al-Ghazali explains, in the state of reliance, a person is certain that God will dispense of one's affairs in a way that will benefit the person in both worlds, and the realization of this certainty leads to feelings of peace in the heart and calm in the mind. Interestingly, Al-Ghazali argues, these positive feelings attributed to reliance are not solely dependent upon certainty of faith. He states, a person can become overwhelmed by negative thoughts despite the presence of certainty. Al-Ghazali recalls the story of the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, in the Quran, in which Abraham, peace be upon him, asked God to show him how he raises the dead. God is reported in the Quran to have responded, have you not believed? To which the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, answers, yes, indeed, but so that my heart may be at peace. Here, there is acknowledgement that certainty in God alone does not result in feelings of peace. Rather, certainty needs to be combined with a mental or cognitive strength in order for feelings of tranquility to manifest. The cultivation of reliance requires effort and practice, stressing that the virtues of patience and taqwa are important components in achieving this, as they lead to feelings of contentment in God's decree, no matter the outcome. Furthermore, Al-Ghazali explains the importance of being hopeful when relying on God, in which hope in God's mercy and having a positive opinion of God at all times is advised. This is the same advice given in the discussion on taqwa, where hope is encouraged to prevent excessive negative feelings and sickness associated with fear. Hope in the context of reliance is conveyed through the belief that any outcome is in one's best interest, especially if it is contrary to one's wish. To illustrate, Al-Ghazali gives an example of a patient who places trust in and is content with a doctor's decision to deny her a favorite food or activity in the interest of her long-term well-being. Whilst there exists a principle of acceptance in the act of reliance, Al-Ghazali warns, reliance on God does not excuse a person from exertion and action, and that a person must try their absolute best and do all that is necessary in life to attain success or protect oneself or property from harm by lawful means. This is to ensure that reliance on God is not used as a concealment for cowardliness, fear, shame, and other such feelings, but is purely based on the knowledge of God. Furthermore, Al-Ghazali argues, taking all necessary action also safeguards a person from the negative thoughts and feelings of hopelessness that can arise due to inaction. Furthermore, the Quran warns against a belief system that is conditional upon God's grace, equating such belief to disbelief, an example of which is found in the following verse. And among mankind some worship God upon a brink. If good befalls him, he is content thereby. But if a trial befalls him, he is turned over upon his face, losing this world and the hereafter. That is a manifest loss. That's Quran chapter 22 verse 11. In summary, reliance is understood to mean acceptance of, without loss of rigor, life's circumstances, whilst believing that whatever God decrees is good, and in doing so, detaching from any egoistic or self-originating narratives and desires. This, according to Islamic teaching, ultimately leads to feelings of peace. This Islamic perspective on reliance and submission to God's will resonates with the notion of acceptance found in contemporary mindfulness. The idea that one should let go and accept what is happening around them is a common outlook found within contemporary and traditional understandings of mindfulness. Within the philosophies, the understanding of no judgment does not mean that one surrenders to negative character traits or circumstances, but rather one accepts that they are present and can be changed. End of narration. I hope you enjoyed that. Do take care.